Hi everyone, the van's finished. Let me show you around. Right then folks, here we are. Welcome to JD's campervan. So stepping in off the side door then, I've got my little control panel, I've got my light switch, I can turn my lights on and off, and I've got a few USB charging points, a mobile phone port here, a little hook for my keys straight away as I enter. So that's magic. Little bin underneath here, that's a nice little stash under there. I've got a folding table on the side of this unit here, and then stashed underneath I've got one of these little handy folding stoves. They're really good to have, and I've just stuck a piece of wood with some velcro to the side of it and a piece of velcro to the side of the cabinet there, and that just tacks onto there nicely, and the table just holds it all in place. And then continuing inside, I have my fridge housed in this unit here. That just slides out on the floor, and it's a 16 litre open top compressor fridge. It just slides away when I'm finished. Okay, let me show you the kitchen area. So I'll work top down, probably the easiest. I found this nice little plastic bowl in the shop, and I found that my jet boil fits just perfectly in there, so that's kind of where my kettle slash jet boil is being stored. And there's a spare rag in there just to keep it all nice and tight. So that's the water boiling system. And then coming over, you might have seen on my other video where I built this niche, and I just want to say this top shelf has proved absolutely vital. It's been a fantastic idea, and I'm really glad I did it. It's so handy being able to stash things up there, as you can see. Over on this side I was a bit lucky there actually. My spices just tuck in there really nicely and tight, and then there's a little area in front I can put things in. I've got things like sauces in there, what's there, custard cream biscuits. I've got a tub here full of raisins and cranberries for porridge and oatmeal, things like that. Over here, this is my cup, which I use every day all the time, so that stashes in there nicely. I've got a couple of different bowls here, and collapsible bowls and collapsible bowls up there. I don't need many, one or two will do me. And then I've always got a bag of wipes in this corner, so that shelf is vital. Over here, magnetic strip. Oh man, this is so useful. Again, really handy. I'd recommend one of these if you can fit one in, just to have a few odds and ends what you use all the time. So nice to be able to just ping things on. You know, making a cup of tea all the time, multiple times a day, just bang your spoon up there. That's brilliant. Oh, next thing, I'll come to these. These are fantastic. These are little dispensers. I've got one full of hand sanitizer and one full of fairy liquid for washing dishes and stuff. And they're just so easy and you know, just one-handed, bang, bang. Whenever you come in and you're just always washing your hands, you can do whatever you're doing, wherever you've been, you can just bang that and you wash your hands and just reset yourself all the time. And then coming over here, this is another winner. I saw somebody else with one of these. This is a one-handed kitchen roll ratchet cage. You'll have seen them. The idea is you can pull it to a side with one hand and you just get your stuff. It's fantastic. And then moving on to this main shelf area here, you can see I've just got a few essentials. I've got black pepper, I've got salt, I've got some vinegar there. They're essential for fish and chips, salt and vinegar, so I always have them in store. Coffees, olive oil, tea bag holder, another spare pot just for odds and sods, and that's kind of a toothbrush, mouthwash area. Then I get no noise when I'm moving, so it's all worked out pretty well. And the green bungee cords was an addition afterwards, because I realised I needed like something else. I needed more options, such as this. If I've got a tub, I can just sling that under there. I can drive off, and I know that's not going to fly around. Over here, similar thing again. I've just added another bungee cord just for when I've got my porridge oats at the back of there at the moment. It's just nice to be able to stick things to the wall if I need to. A couple of bottles of water, so anything again can just be strapped in. That's really good. And yeah, my beautiful countertop I'm really happy with. You saw me make that in the previous video, and since then I've added this upstand area to the back there just to keep things in place and stop water from splashing across. I followed it through there as well to the end, so that's lovely. So that's the top area. Oh yeah, and this as well. This is only a daft thing, but this is really useful. This is just a stupid little silicone draining board from B&M's, I think it was, and it's so useful just to slick on there, and when you're washing bits and bobs up on here, you can just bang them on there, and it keeps all your water in one place. Little things that are just really handy around here, you know. And as you've seen in previous videos, I've got my tap and sink system going on here. That works off the 12 volt pump underneath. I'll show you in there now. So moving on to the doors, these are the handles that I went for in the end. They're a really slimline handle which you bed into the door. You use a hinge cutter, just like you was using a kitchen hinge. You use a hinge cutter and bed them in. And then I've just got these simple little locks, and they stick underneath into the worktop and hold the door closed during transit. So very simple, and it works great. Here we go. I've got a net pocket here with a couple of squeezy bottles. One's got fairy liquid in and one's got pure water in. Sometimes I use that for washing if I don't want to use the tap. It saves on water. You can just use a little bit and wash your stuff that way. So that's quite a good tip. And then moving underneath, I've got a couple of tea towels. They usually live on top, to be honest, if I'm being honest with you. But they are vital, I'm telling you. I'm new to camper vans, but I'm learning tea towels are vital. You always need them. You're always wiping your hands. I've always got a couple here. I've got one of those pop-up washing up bowls. I don't use that too often, but it just stores in there nicely. And then these are my water bottles. You can see on my previous videos how I built this system. It's a 12 volt water pump with electric feed at the back going up to the tap. They're all strapped in now since you last saw me. There's bungee straps holding it down. I used white Conti blocks in the end, which I found was a very good way of holding a bungee cord, because you've got two screws holding a white Conti block, and there's always a hole in the middle, and I use them as bungee cord anchor points. And then I've also got kind of a Velcro strap into the side of the cabinet, and it holds it real tight. These don't budge an inch. These are really solid. I'm really happy with them. Same on the back one there, on the big 19 litre water bottle here. There's a Velcro strap holding it to the side of the cabinet, so it's tag teamed up with the bungee cords. It's really tight. And then shoved at the back there, I managed to just fit in a little plastic kind of caddy which you put things in. I've got a sponge in there and spare stuff, little wipes up there. So that's the under sink cupboard. Over here in the middle I've got a 600 wide drawer which pulls out. This is very handy. This has got a multitude of things in. These are utensils just for cooking. These are spoons and forks and you know, you name it, tin opener, it's all in there. Yeah, first aid kit and things at the back there, spare cloths, baby wipes, deodorant, loads of batteries under there, just bits and bobs. So then moving underneath, this is the food station under here. These two doors are all to do with food. And the way I've gone about doing this was to use plastic tubs rather than putting shelves in there and things like that. I thought I need tubs I can pull out. So for instance, this one is full of a lot of tins and rice. I've actually put bungee cords going left to right and back and forth to kind of make compartments, which is really handy. I've just tied knots through the side, and it just compartments it all off inside, and it keeps everything from rattling around and falling all over the place. So I'm getting quite a lot in there. It's only half full at the moment. There's lots of bits and bobs in there. And this one, this is kind of, this is cornflakes, this is cream crackers, that kind of thing, dry stuff, cereals. This is full of bread. That's quite good for that. And then this long basket down here, there's a biscuit tin, rich tea biscuits and things in there, spare oranges. So I can get quite a lot of bits and bobs in there. I think it's plenty for a trip out here and there. And again, these are all on locks. This door closes and it locks inside, and then this one closes towards it, and that one locks to that door, and it keeps them all tight. And again, I've gone for the same handles, so they're nice and flush. Nothing's gonna bang into you as you're walking through. Even this drawer handle, it's nice and clean. It's just one of those little finger pull ones, nice and flush. And then finally in this cupboard then, so yeah, this is the cooking station really. This is a Coleman double burner, which I managed to just slide down that gap there. It goes in there, and I've got like this folded up piece of cloth, and it just shoves to the side of it there, and it keeps it nice and tight. It doesn't rattle at all when I'm moving. And on the top shelf there I've got spare gas. There's 3 gas canisters can fit along there, so that's nice to have. And then the middle one is pans. I've got a couple of mess tins if I ever need them. but mainly I'm using these two. I've got a fire maple kind of frying pan there, and then the good old Ridge Monkey, and that works a treat for a lot of things as well. So these just stash in that middle section there. Again, a bit of sponge to stop things rattling around. And down at the bottom, this is the gas can that I'm currently using, because this has got the hose on and the regulator. So when the gas can runs out, I can just unscrew that. The regulator goes on a new gas, and then this lives down here all the time. Just in there. Alright, so that's the kitchen area covered. Let's move on to this side. What we got? So I've got a 22-inch screen on the side of the cabinet here, and that's got a Netgear Air card with a SIM card in it for mobile internet, and there's a Fire Stick plugged into the back of this TV as well. So that's how I get my internet. I get on YouTube through there, if I can get a signal. Obviously it's not always possible, but you can go back and watch my videos and it'll all kind of make sense where I've plugged it in there. And this top half has ended up as the wardrobe. All the clothes go in here. Similar with the food department down there, I've gone for a couple of plastic tubs, and this is just full of clothes, full of different things, tops and trousers and stuff like that. So there's a big one there which slides out if I need it, and then this one's a slightly thinner one, it's slightly smaller, it's just got more clothes in. And you just put 4 brackets on there, so that one slides in. And then at the back here, if I dig in at the back, this is a shoe holder, what you put on the back of a door, and I've kind of folded it up and repurposed it, so I've got 8 pockets of a shoe holder there, and it's just handy to have. It's loads of different pockets, and I can put socks in there, I've got bags in there, and anything really. You can't have enough, can you? Okay, and then moving down to the bottom cupboard, let's have a look inside. I've got a little vacuum cleaner stashed in there, that's really handy. This is an emergency fold out toilet really, because this I don't have a porta potty. It's not something I wanted to do. They're so big and you've got to find a space for them. I've not needed it yet. I probably will hardly use it, but it's in there. If I need it, it's in there. This is the tank that came with the diesel heater. This is a 10-litre tank, and I just decided to use it as a spare water tank, to be honest. Nice and tight, nothing can fall over. So I'll close this up, and just on the outside of these cupboards I just put some of that foam matting you get, you know, what you can buy for garage floors and things. I just put some of that on. Reason being, the reason I've done that is I thought I can use it as more like a pin board. You can use it as a notice board and pin things on. I just thought it might be handy, and to be honest I just quite like it. I think it's quite funky. Right, so let me tell you about the bed then, shall I? Okay, so it's just a straightforward single bed, this one. It works out to about 6'2"-ish, depending whether the driver's seat's back or forth. You can get a bit more room that way. So I'm a 6-foot guy and I can get on this no problem. I've had a few good nights sleep on it so far, so it's working a treat. So foam wise, this is a high density foam, you know, the blue stuff. I got a 3-inch thick piece, and then I got a 1-inch thick piece of memory foam. And then when I got them, I contact spray and I stuck them together. So it's got a nice sort of memory foam top. It's not too harsh, but it is quite firm to sit on. It's nice, but then when you lay on it, you've got the memory foam top. And so far, so good. I'm enjoying it. It's working well. And then from there, I got some blue material from eBay, and then with a bit of help from my mum, because she's good with the old sewing machine and stuff, we wrapped it up and kind of made our own cover for it. There's a stretch of Velcro running through the front here, so I can like wrestle with it and get it out if I ever need to wash it, which is handy. And then there's a grey throw on top just to kind of help it keep clean and stuff. So that's that. And then across the back here, as you can see, I've just gone for a few cushions, and it's a good way of doing it, I think, because you can move them where you want and you can sling them around and get comfy with them. It's really good. It's a good way of doing it, I think. So they've worked out well. The bed's quite good for me. So going underneath, I've just got a couple of big storage bins under here really. I'll show you. So lifting up the right hand side, I can keep it open like that, look. And then this is just for things like tents, and I've got an awning there. I'll show you that another time once it's all up. Sleeping bags, dry bags, I've got a fold up chair in here. And like I say, that leads into the cupboard underneath, so there's a bit of excess play room in there. So then over on the left hand side, similar deal. Yeah, this is just usually spare towels. I've got a bag here with blankets in and jackets and spare clothes and things like that. So there's loads of room down here. Now then, that's an important thing. I've got a toolkit for the van down here. when I was coming to the end of it, I thought I definitely want the toolkit in the van, so I've got bits and bobs if anything ever goes wrong. So there's a toolkit with all I might need. There's a voltage meter in there for electric stuff, there's crimpers, there's all sorts. Everything I might need I've tried to think of in there. I've got an air compressor for the tyres outside, for the van tyres. That's important to have on board. At the back there, that's some spares for the diesel heater. That lives at the back under this boxing, all nice and tidy. Yeah, and just a quick word on the diesel heater actually. Since I installed this, I have replaced the fuel pump. I've gone for one of those silent ones, or so-called silent ones. You know, the one with like a green band around it, what you can get. So I've gone for one of them, and it was worth doing. I'm glad I've done it. It's definitely not silent, I'll tell you that. There's still a tick to it, but it's not quite as harsh as the standard one that comes with it. It's slightly more pleasing, but it was worth doing for the money. It's not too bad. So that's been done. Okay then, the final section under the bed, just at the back of the driver's seat here, pops off on magnets like so. And then this is basically electric corner under here. I won't go too deep into it because I've done it on old videos, and you can have a look on there if you're interested. It's essentially a 130 amp hour battery. I've got a solar panel set up there, split charge relay going on, and a little toolkit down here full of spare bits and bobs. And that just places in, it's on mag catches, and that just stays secured under there. Lovely. I've got my diesel heater control panel down there, and if I just move these cushions off, this windowsill worked out really nice. You'll see on my old videos I used a piece of wood in here and carpeted it all, and that's really useful as a shelf in there. I'm glad I did that. And then moving across here, these are my cargo nets. This is my little carpeted niche in here. It's really useful for storing bits and bobs, as you can see. Books and bananas and maps and things like that. I've got one of these little remote holders here for my remotes for the TV and Fire Stick. So that's a pretty nice corner as well. So yeah, this is the main seating area. This is how I use it. I use the driver's seat tilt function to get the backrest in the right angle. And it's really comfy, to be honest. If you put a cushion behind, it's spot on. It's really nice. So you can sit on here during the day and chill out, and obviously turn it into bed mode on the night and get the blankets out and everything. So that's really good. Alright, looking at the back of the van then. I've got a windbreak shoved down the side of there in case I ever need one. Right, starting off with this thing. This is a shoe organiser which you put over the top of wardrobe doors and things. This is so helpful. It's really handy to have. I'm glad I've used it. You can get so much stuff in it. I've got clothes in one, I've got towels in another, and like baby powder and things like that. Waterproofs in the top, and then down here, I'll show you this another time. This is for another video. This is like a bug screen that I've got, and a canopy which goes over these barn doors. They're fantastic. I'll show you that another time. Down the side of here, I've got a laundry bottle, which if you know what I'm talking about, you probably know what this is already. This is a pee bottle. A lot of campervanners have a pee bottle, and this is mine. Out of all of the expensive stuff in the van, I'm telling you, that's one of the best things. And then down here, again, you'll have seen in my old videos, this is my diesel heater fuel tank. That's where that comes out. And I can just undo this, and there's a bit of slack on the pipe, and I can pull this down kind of onto the floor area here, and I can always refill this at a fuel station when I need to. So that's making a treat down there. And then moving over to the back door here, I've got one of these simple camping tables, and what I did was I've just screwed some hooks into the panel here, 2 hooks what it rests on, and then up at the top to keep it nice and tight. Again, like I say, everything's nice and tight. There's a Velcro strip. I had to attach this metal bracket to it just so I can get the Velcro strip through. And it's a bit like a watch strap, I suppose, and then that just comes through like this, and then Bob's your uncle, there it is, and you can take it off. And then down here there's a tiny little stash as well for stuff in there and whatever you need, but I've not really utilised that bit yet. Alright, and then looking at the other back door here, there's not much going on. It's just one of those cargo pockets. They're there if I ever need one. I've got a torch down here. And then in this little cubby hole down here, this is kind of still to be decided. I didn't really know what to do with this once I finished the kitchen. But at the moment I'm finding that my boots and trainers fit down there really nice. And I've got this little cloth compartment there, and I'm just putting like old dirty socks and stuff down there. So okay, so moving to the outside of the van now. There's two windows in the back panels there, and I've got a side window here which is an opener. One of the main things I've done as well is I've just upgraded the tyres to Continental van contact tyres. They're all season tyres. It was quite expensive as well, so I'm really happy they've been done. That's a good improvement. And then if I move around again, we come around to this side. I've got a side window there which is an opener on the side door. I've got a security plate as well now around the locks, and like I mentioned, the tyres have been done. And don't forget the solar panels on the top. Let's have a look at that. I'll take you up so you can see what I've got. I've got 200 watts of solar up here, two 100 watt solar panels from Renault going into the gland here. This one here is the Wi-Fi Netgear air card. And over here, this is a little TV aerial that I'm using. It's hit and miss depending where you are. You don't always get a signal, but you can see how I've hooked it up there. The wire is bundled up inside of the roof bars here, and that goes into a joint here which I've made. And then the joint is connected inside of the black tape there, and then that is a separate wire which goes down into the van, into the cupboard I've shown you before. That allows me to move this TV aerial the length of this wire, which I can move all over the van there and try and get a good spot if I ever need to. So that's a handy thing to have. Right, I'll just take you inside the cab area. I'll just show you underneath the passenger seat here just quickly. What I've managed to get under here, there's just a block of wood down there if I ever need to jack the van up on a soft piece of grass. I've got a steady piece of wood in there. This gap here is usually where the levelling blocks go, but I'm using them currently on the van, as you've seen on the outside. The levelling blocks just slide in there nicely out the way. And then under here, which is really good, I've just got a big box and it slides out. And this is just full of miscellaneous stuff. It's just tools and rubber mallets and all sorts, you name it, bungee cords and pieces of rope. You know, it's like a little toolbox junk corner, and that fits under the passenger seat really well. So that's a handy thing to have as well, isn't it? That goes under there, and again, it's all bungee corded up, just wraps onto there nicely. Not too much to say really in the cab. It's you've seen it on the old videos. Reversing camera at the back there, that's working fantastic. There's a few security measures which I've got as well. I won't mention too much about them. I've got a tracker nowadays, and there's a couple of other bits and bobs which I won't go into. I've had somebody down to help me out with it. So yeah, there's a few things like that as well. What's been done. Well, there we go then, folks. I hope you enjoyed that look round JD's van. And I'll tell you what, I can't believe how much goes into these vans. How much time, how much effort, how much money, and just how much stuff you need. There's just endless things you need to finally get it over the line, you know. Big credit to anybody out there who does it. It's a big task, and you bloody deserve it once you've done it. I'm so happy to bring this van series to a complete end with a final product like this. It's took a lot of hard work, I'll tell you, a lot of hours, a lot of money, and just a lot of thinking, constant thinking all the time. It bloody drains you at times. So it's a real thrill to have it finally finished. If you've been watching the series from the beginning, power to you, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making them as well, to be honest. It's something that I've just got into. I've really enjoyed making them. But the completion of this van doesn't mean that I'm disappearing. It's not the end of me just yet. And this book here is my new challenge. This is Walking the Wainwrights. I'm going to go to the Lake District and bag all the Wainwrights. I'm going to complete it. It'll force me to get out in the van, go use it, go enjoy it, and then have a challenge in mind as well at the same time. So keep an eye out for me, popping up now and again. I'd like to show you how I'm getting on with it. Is it working well? Have I come across any mistakes? I'll let you know if I have. And I intend to film every walk that I do and document the progress. So thanks for coming and having a look round the van. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I'll see you down the road, alright?